Hey everybody, my name is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com, and what I want to do is talk to you about the value of market inefficiencies. Now, the market process isn't always efficient, but the times when it's inefficient, oftentimes there's true value to be found in that process. So what do I mean? Sometimes people who are critical of markets will point out to companies' advertising budgets. They'll say, well, the fact that there's all these competing companies, you have redundancy. So you have 3 companies doing the same thing when you could just have one spending money to do the same thing. So that's inefficient. So markets aren't as efficient as market proponents sell them as. And on top of these companies, in being redundant, spend all this money on advertising, which means that they're charging more than they would need to make a budget for that advertising. So if we just had government be the sole provider of this thing, it'd be more efficient because you're not redoing the same thing 3 times and you're not having to spend all this money on advertising. No. Now, yes, those are inefficiencies. Yes, when you have more, but there are values to those inefficiencies. Redundancy has a value in itself in the sense that if one provider fails, if one provider of, let's say, X good fails, there's 2 more. So you're not suddenly going to have a shortage or just a disappearance of it. So you're not necessarily, there's no systematic risk in that manner. Second, when it comes to advertising budgets, when you have competing companies, they're not just competing over the quality of their good or service. They're also competing in their ability to communicate the value of their good or service. Okay, so basically, a lot of people will argue that Betamax was better than VHS. But VHS won because they were able to communicate the value and market the value of a VHS more than Betamax. And that's a value. It got more people to start buying videos, and it got the adoption of videos up. So a good that may, at least not on paper, be quite as valuable as the other, there's still a value in the ability to communicate value because that also increases adoption, and that allows technologies that'll benefit the world to increase adoption faster. Okay, so imagine if you had 2 companies providing some life-saving medicine. Because they're competing against each other, they're working harder to tell as many people about this good or service, this life-saving medicine, and more people will be aware of it and more people will use it sooner than later. Vice versa, if there was just one, they're the only game in town. So they're not going to spend as much money on marketing. They're not going to be as aggressive about getting the word out there, which means less people are going to find about it, less people are going to adopt it quickly, and the benefit of the technology will not necessarily permutate or disseminate as quickly. So there's a value. And on top of it, there's a social value to that competition over talking about value. So what happens is that if we learn how to communicate better, because part of marketing is just learning how to communicate with people, not just communicate value. If we communicate better, then we're less likely to be hostile to each other. We're less likely to get into fights. And the end result, we're a more peaceful society. So businesses competing against each other, people spending money on marketing and learning how to communicate has a tremendous value for society and the economy in the sense of the ability that it helps disseminate new life-saving technologies and just life-improving technologies better. And on top of it, allows us to be more cohesive because we're learning how to talk to each other. Those incentives are less when you take out competition. My name is Alex Merced from alexmerced.com. Have a great day and enjoy.